food nerds. I'm Julianne Fader, the gastro nerd, and do I have a home run dessert for you? My chocolate chip cookie cake. What's the best way to have a cookie? What could make a cookie even better? Yeah, have it in cake form. Delicious. So it's nice and it has a little crunchy on the outside and still gooey in the center. It's easy and I guarantee you're gonna wow everybody. People have been told to be silent when they eat my cake. They are speechless. And now it's going to be yours too. For this cookie cake, you are going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, half a cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of cocoa, a cup of light or brown sugar, dark, I prefer light brown sugar, packed. Lots of chocolate chips, some vanilla extract, 2 sticks of room temperature butter. This is like, to give you an idea, you should be able to squeeze it and it just kind of, 2 large eggs, a little baking soda, about a teaspoon, and about a half a teaspoon of salt, and then half a teaspoon of just regular water. Let's get going. Preheat your oven, 350 for this one. You could, if you want more of a crust, you can raise the temperature a little bit, or if you're more of a all-around softie, you can just keep it at 350. I'm gonna do my flours first, so it's all ready to go. There we go. My cocoa. Also, if you don't want chocolate chip, you just don't put in the cocoa powder, and up the flour, and then 1/4 cup. Then I add my salt. Remember, always add salt when you're baking. It really helps bring out the flavor. Baking soda, so it's gonna rise, about a teaspoon. And then make sure it's all nice and whisked together. So, I use a whisk. And this is really, you don't have to sift it, nothing fancy. Bam, all together. It should be one uniform color. You can just kind of look at the bottom. That's where the stuff that's not as well whisked is going to be hanging out and hiding. Make sure it's thoroughly whisked. Now on to the beating pot. My 2 sticks of unsalted butter. Salted butter is okay, but really you just want to use unsalted butter for all of your baking purposes. Really all of your cooking purposes too. Salted butter I would only buy if you're going to really be eating it as such. Stick with unsalted butter. This of course can be done with a hand blender. Oop, that's my oven, it's nice and preheated. So this can be done with a hand blender as well, or a really strong arm and a wooden spoon. I've definitely broken some wooden spoons trying to do this by hand when I didn't have access to it. It's a great muscle workout. Sugar, going in there. Granulated, brown. Whee! Nice and fluffy. Rubber spatula, gotta have one for baking. And make sure it's all, you can push it down and make sure it's all fully incorporated. It should have kind of a sandy texture. One of the types of doughs in French is called a pâte sablée because it literally means sandy because of the sugar. This is not that at all, but fun fact. Now for my huevos. 2 eggs, whole. So slowly, one at a time. The pace of this starts to slow down. The only part where it's really important that it's fast and it really beats really vigorously is when you're creaming the butter and the sugar. After that, take it down a notch. Vanilla, 1 teaspoon, just a little, half a teaspoon of water. Now it's time to add the flour mixture. This is pretty much the formula for any basic cookie. The only difference is you might add some molasses in there for ginger snap, and oats in there for an oatmeal cookie. It's not terribly, it's sort of the generic cookie formula. In goes my flour, slowly, little bit at a time. Remember, whenever you're making, whoop, don't want to knock over my vanilla. Fun fact, vanilla extract is made with alcohol and vanilla beans. There's very little vanilla in vanilla extract. And it'll last for a very, very long time. It'll start to lose its aroma over time. 99% of vanilla that's out there, vanilla extract, is synthetic. So read your label. Just make sure it has vanilla bean extracted or smell it so it's good. And when you're doing any sort of pastry, so pastry cookie is a very, I guess not a high form of pastry, but it is still a pastry. It has flour and fat, therefore it makes it pastry. That's the definition of pastry. You really want to work the flour, the dough or the batter rather, as little as possible. If you've heard of gluten, it's on everybody's mind. Gluten is a protein that is naturally occurring in flour and wheat flour, and it's great for bread. You want to really work it for bread, but for pastry you want them to be light and delicate, so you want to do the least work possible. So I'm pushing down all the remaining batter, making sure all that extra little flour that sneaks up on the side is going to be mixed in. Yeah. That's the best part. And if my mother were here, she would have already eaten all of this. And now I'm going to add a copious amount of chocolate chips. About 2 cups, but however many you like. I'm actually baking this for my friend tonight. We're having dinner at his place. He's cooking, so I thought I'd bring over this dessert. So I picked a dish that I would be happy to get rid of. You don't even, because there's a lot of butter in here, I don't even bother greasing the pan or anything. And then I'll save a little extra for my brother so he can bring it into work, so we can make friends. I'm just such a nice sister. He's 23, by the way, and single ladies, if you're interested. Little one for me tonight, and then another little one for my brother. I'm gonna put them in muffin tins. I'm gonna stick this in the oven. Oven's at 350, and this is gonna bake for about 40 minutes. You can always cook it a little less, and then I always like to reheat it right before I'm gonna serve it so it's gooey and warm. I serve it with some vanilla ice cream, and it is truly decadent. I just took my cookie cake out of the oven. It is still warm to the touch, but as you can see, it is a fully form size cake. And this is gonna be great. We can dig right into this dish. You can always pop it out too if you prefer. I made these little cookie cake cupcakes as well, and as you can see, they pop right out. You can literally, they just, see, no greasing necessary. Woo, lovely. So I'll send my brother off to work with some of them, but for now, I guess I have to taste test, you know, it's always the case. A little ice cream, perhaps. So what I love about this is I could just, has a little crunch on the outside, but it's nice and soft and gooey on the inside. That's your home run, the chocolate cookie cake. Bring it out at parties, dazzle people, and I guarantee this is a keeper. Thanks for watching The Gastro Nerd. I'm Julianne Fader, and stay tuned for more delicious nerdiness to come.